If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option, as Sori says. $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at villageXchange@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener.
Right. The birthday.
The birthday boy.
No, the birthday beatdown.
For the birthday boy.
You just said to call him a man. Is coming to a close, but it's not a complete close because we're at the beginning of a Vin and Sori review, and you know how these go.
You know how that
They're
goes.
more than 5 or 6 minutes long. So
they're more than 5 or 6 minutes long.
You still have time to pop some popcorn and come back
around. You still have
around.
time to pop your popcorn.
What are you doing?
Sylosis,
right.
Deadwood.
This is what our DJ Ben has to say. We've done quite a bit of Sylosis on this channel, but dude, this song! It came out on March 16th of 2023. Oh, it just came out.
Wow.
This is Deadwood, y'all. Let's check it out.
Here's the official video. Deadwood.
By Sylosis.
All right, guys, here we go.
I stand inside a world I
is up and running now. We are selling our formula officially. It's amazing stuff from Europe.
Made in Germany. Sold in America.
Highest standards there are. In America, the standards haven't been updated since 1980. It's super weird, like older than me. In Europe, they update safety standards basically every year. This formula is top notch, great for the stomach, great for constipation. This is a great product. If you happen to want to purchase it and join us on our journey, then grab the link in the description. If you do and leave a review for us, send me a screenshot at vinandsori@gmail.com of your review after you have received the product. We will put your name in a hat. Song reviews are going to come out by some of the people that have left reviews. Don't forget to send us a screenshot of your review once you get the product. Now a word from our mascot dressed as a pirate, Fuji.
It's a steal of a deal.
I love the way
Deadwood by Sylosis.
When he would sing Face Down in the Dirt Again, when he would sing that part.
Yep.
I liked that part.
Why?
Just the way it was, like just the notes that he hit and the way that he hit it.
Oh, yeah.
It sounded really good. And then, yeah, okay, all right, let's go into
No, go.
I mean, are we talking about, was there like basically like this is the last person that survived after a catastrophe? Like when there's like a resistance and they fight back and he's the last man standing, but I mean, you're the only person left? I've stepped inside a world I don't know. The sky's not quite the same anymore. Dead stasis, burnt pages, fabric of society torn. Condemned either way, no cells, no chains. Resistance is buried like a secret to a grave. So I think there was a resistance. Everything got destroyed. He's the only one.
Post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, that's what I was meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
This song made me want to write a song. Like lyrics.
Really?
To a song. Yeah. Because
how come?
I think because like sometimes like Danny Filth, I'm like that's too much. I don't know. I'm not gonna be able to write like that. But then there are other people that I'm like, well, that's too basic. Like this to me, like this is attainable types of lyrics for me. But he still communicated stuff well, I thought, and I liked the way that it's like dead stasis, burnt pages, fabric of society torn. Like it's just like little clips that, I don't know, it just seemed fun to do. Plus, yeah. Anyway, what did you think?
Yeah, I'm formulating Face Down in the Dirt Again. What's the gain from being the last one standing?
That's
Cut
why
the
I
limb
thought
and
he was
not
the only
tourniquet.
one.
Whoa, cut the limb and not the tourniquet. So now it's understood. We remove the dead wood.
Is he talking
That's
about
a
he has to
crazy
amputate his limbs?
Well, you put the tourniquet on to stop the bleeding.
Right. But he's saying
and
cut the
just
limb
cut the
instead.
limb off. That's just be done with it. Stop trying to elongate something that's inevitable. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the question. Like, if the sky really is empty and there's no God, there's no afterlife or whatever, what do you gain from surviving?
Exactly. Really. It's actually worse. Because if you're the last one standing and there's no one and nothing,
yeah, you're by yourself.
You're literally alone.
Yeah, I mean, in that worldview, you'd have to say that there was at some point somebody who was alone, right?
Yeah.
And when the world's going to end at some point, unless there's like a simultaneous mass extinction event, you'll be alone again. Like, yeah, like the
Dwayne.
Yeah, it's a pretty bleak way of looking at the world.
Yeah, yeah.
But pulled apart from all sides, it never took much to divide. Can't find a way to detach, so light the fucking match. Never been the first to cast a stone, but we'll torch the fields where their seeds are sown. Like moth to flame, they all burn the arcane, constricted, complicit in how we're detained. Face down in the dirt again. What's the gain from being the last one standing? Cut the limb and not the tourniquet, so now it's understood. We remove the dead wood, burn it down, raise it all to the ground. Every last one, I felt the weight of a soul in my hands. And I'm starting to understand they're all dead weight. Transcending this hell unscathed while we fight for the scraps thrown away. Go ahead.
Well, I felt the weight of a soul in my hands, and I'm starting to understand they're all dead weight. It's just the weight of the soul in his hands because he took part in killing, I'm guessing is what he's saying. Is that what you got from that?
I don't know.
Like in this story, I felt the weight of a soul in my hands, and I'm starting to understand they're all dead weight. Like the weight of a soul, but then the souls, they're dead. All the people are dead. Like he's just surrounded by death everywhere. And like the weight of the soul, like how valuable the person was, while at the same time recognizing like it's just bodies that are just around him. Like
parasites and sycophants bleeding you dry. So the sycophant is somebody that's like always, oh, you're so great, like a yes person on crack, and then a parasite is a parasite.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming this is something he experiences as being a rock star, right? Is that everybody around you is either a parasite or a sycophant, somebody that wants something from you.
Yep.
Bleeding you dry, face down in the dirt, and then so if you go back, he's got the weight of a soul in his hands. He's starting to understand they're all dead weight. Like maybe like when you're that kind of person,
man,
you know what I'm saying? Like I think Elle has an interesting
Isn't that
theory
crazy?
on the song because she says it's like a eat the rich type of thing. Go ahead. What
you
were you
could
saying?
literally not experience all the goodness that there is in the world to the point that you have so much, because I mean he's a rock star, you have so much that the world feels like something is so wrong that the world feels like it's post-apocalyptic to you. Like there's that little enjoyment, like there's that little good, like obviously something is bad wrong.
Yeah, I Elle's theory on this is interesting. It's like an eat the rich type Marxist type thing where the common people are basically turning on the rich and basically eliminating them, basically burn
And
it
that
down,
was the
burn it,
resistance.
raise it all to the ground, right? We'll
Yeah,
torch
but that's
the
what
fields.
leaves him as the only guy standing, the only one left alive.
Right, we'll torch the field where the seeds are sown, like moths to flames, they all burn arcane, constricted, complicit in how we're detained. So it looks like you're an oppressed, there's an oppressed group of people, they're gonna break free, they're destroying the property, and now they're because they just said burn it, raise it to the ground, that would be like the property, the fields or whatever, and then the weight of a soul in my hands, that would be the people. Now that you've destroyed everything, now how do you justify killing these people? Well, they're parasites and sycophants or whatever. They're bleeding us dry. They're just dead wood.
Oh, they're dead weight.
Yeah. So get rid of them.
God, okay.
Type of thing. So it looks like that to me. The thing is, you can look at this a couple ways, right? You could say, oh my God, this is terrible, blah blah blah. But it's like, well, maybe I'm always conflicted about like the whole conflict between the super rich and Marxist ideology.
Yeah.
And I haven't found a way to really, like, if somebody works hard and front loads all the risk and has a successful company, I don't believe that the workers should be able to go in there and have equal say in what happens with the business. I think that that's crazy. But I also don't believe that it's moral to make 700 times more than your employee, and then your employee has to either supplement money with government assistance or find a second job. I don't think that that's just either. So I don't really know like how to balance those two competing ideas. You know what I'm saying? Like if I believe
That's such an interesting way of looking at it. What percentage are you making more than your employees?
Yeah, if I believed that the companies that we're building could be then basically stolen from us by the workers and not for my children, which is why I'm doing it. Yeah. Like, yeah, I would have gone a different route.
Absolutely.
It's because I know I can give it to my children, and I know that my kids are going to be able to, exploit the fruits of our labor that I'm doing it. But if I knew the government was just going to come in and jack it all up, or the employees could get together and basically steal the company from out under my sons, like hell no. Like I'd be doing something different.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So, but at the same time, like if I was an old man and I checked on the kids and I said, okay, how's the company doing? What's going on? And our employees were living in absolute squalor.
Oh my God, that would break my heart so much.
Yeah. That would be. You just hope that you're inculcating principles and ideas that are really going to resonate and hold on to them for a while. But it talks about the fabric of society being torn. And I was watching an interview one time with Mace, and he said they were like, how do you feel about being young and in rap and all this? Because he was like 19, 20 at the time. He's like, well, it was either this or I come through your window. Because he's talking about living in the ghetto and all this, and it's like, it is true. Like if you create a society where people, you have this vast differentiation in wealth, it's eventually going to devolve into a situation where people are just going to start taking. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, like, there's so much crime in high poverty areas, is because it doesn't matter if you black, white, Indonesian, you put a bunch of poor people together and keep them poor, they're going to get violent. Because the nihilism sets in, and then the whole, you become more animalistic in your mentality. Like, I remember, like, in New York, it's crazy. Like, people use terms like savage, beast, blah, blah, blah. Like, your mindset is really animalistic. It becomes very, very primal. Because every day, it's a survival mechanism, something, you know, people are trying to steal from you, all that type of shit. It's a hellscape.
You know how you'll see, like, if there's some emergency, like regular people, there becomes an emergency in a building, will trample other people. Like, just regular people will trample other people in an emergency situation.
Right.
So when the stress level gets up to a certain degree, or survival kicks into a certain degree, people have to really, like, they focus to take care of themselves.
Yeah.
So in a situation like that, like, it's almost like the entire city is on emergency mode.
Yeah, and he says dead stasis, which is sort of like this balance of equilibrium, but it's dead, so you can maintain stasis and death.
Oh my
Burnt
gosh.
pages, and then he talks about the fabric of society torn.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, our Western society, particularly American society, is based on documents. Okay? If we want to say something is wrong, sometimes we say it's un-American, but if you're in a political space, most people say it's unconstitutional.
Yeah.
Like, so when he talks about burnt pages, that symbology is very, very powerful. Because, especially in the Western world, your society is based on the Bible and the Constitution. I'm sorry, but it's true. Assumptions about what justice is, assumptions about freedom, assumptions about equality, these are not things that are just native to human nature. Go look at other societies for thousands, hundreds, thousands of years, forward and backward. The concept of equality, freedom, those are distinctly Christian ideas. And so whether you look at the Old Testament, that everybody's an image bearer of God, or whether you look at the New Testament where God is crucified, you know, as that guy was saying, he's still he's still holding out not being a Christian. I don't know what's wrong with him, but he basically said Christianity completely, the idea that people are equal, just that concept alone. I mean, not even Plato, who people look at as very progressive, thought that everybody was equal. He had a stratified understanding of what human value was. So the entire country rests on a document called the Constitution. But even if you look at the Declaration of Independence, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed with certain inalienable rights given to them by their creator. Even the concepts of rights in the Declaration of Independence is rooted in a biblical idea. All men are created equal. That was Acts 17. From one man he created all nations of men, so that, and put them in their various habitations, so that in seeking they may find him. So that statement, all men are created equal, is a biblical idea. And so you have an entire society that's based on documents. So when you talk about burnt pages,
And fabric of society's torn as a result.
As a result, it's gonna follow. The minute that you burn those pages, whether literally or symbolically, when you burn those pages, you're automatically gonna have an unraveling society. And people who haven't thought deeply about this, and God bless you, but a lot of my new atheist friends, not old atheists like you know, Bernard and Nietzsche and those guys. I'm talking about new atheists who haven't thought these things through. Because Nietzsche was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna burn the thing for sure," right? And then, but what he said was, "We've killed God," right? So now we're burning the pages. What he said was, there's going to be a period of mass death and destruction.
Yeah, he did.
Because human beings are going to have to figure out how to function as a society without this God concept. And so he knew, you take that out, millions of people are going to die. So he prophesied essentially World War I and World War II. But then from the ruins would rise this Ubermensch, right? This Superman, this collective Superman that's going to rise out of the ashes of that destruction, and that generation or whatever will find a way to like function together without needing the God hypothesis, whatever. So, but my point in saying that is Nietzsche thought deeply about this. He didn't just say, oh, these are Bronze Age people, what did they know, blah, blah, blah. He understood that this concept of theology, and Christian theology in particular in the Western world, is what bolstered us and created the stability for society. And he also understood that if you get rid of that, there's going to be a period of serious death and destruction. But his theory was human beings are so awesome, we'll find a way to figure it out once we arise from those ashes. So when you get modern atheists who are like, this is just bronze, and we don't need any of it, and like willy-nilly just chucking the stuff away, like not understanding the significance of what they're saying. That's the thing for me.
Yeah.
It's like Chesterton said, like if you're on a road and you see guardrails, you better make sure you know why those guardrails are there before you get rid of them. So at the end of the day, when you think about it, all of our society is based on documents, and it's fascinating to me. Like I ask my atheist friends, like, you believe the big, because they're like, I only go by evidence, and I said, you believe the Big Bang happened? Yes, I believe the Big Bang happened. Like, excellent. You've done these experiments yourself? No. Now, how do you know the Big Bang happened? Well, because scientists and peer review. I'm like, how do you know the scientists did that? It comes down to you were in a science class in the 10th grade. And you got taught about the singularity and the explosion, the expanding universe, and redshift, and all the rest of it. That was a book.
Wow.
So all of the foundational understandings in the world are based on pages.
Yeah.
It's based on what we've written, and those things are what guide our society. And so when you burn those pages, man, and people get destabilized, and they don't have the ability to look at the world through that grid. Like, you don't even know that you're, like, a lot of like Western people don't even know they're looking at the world through a grid.
Yeah.
They just assume.
True, yeah.
They just assume. Well, everybody's equal. No, that's a grid. That's what you were taught. That's not something that's inherent to nature. So they don't. So that's the thing. If you don't even know that you're operating from a presupposition, forget. Like, I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine, and the conversation went on for like an hour and a half, and the dude was not addressing anything that I was saying because he couldn't get past his presupposition. I'm like, no, justify that. I need that. He couldn't do it, and so it's like we wasted all this time. Yeah. Because he wasn't addressing the issue, because he was operating first from his presuppositions. So, like, societies evolve. People can move past. I'm not, look, you can, it's theoretically possible to move past a secular humanist or Christian secular, I call it secular Christianity, to be honest with you. But, I mean, you can build societies away from it. I mean, you can look at the Muslim world. Right? You can build society on Sharia. Yeah. You can look at communist Russia, and you can look at, a purposeful secular state. You can do that. I mean, it just depends. Yeah. I mean, it really does depends. The burning of contracts is the breaking of promises. This is a death of faith. That's a really good idea too. Is when you talk about burning pages, it also implies the burning of contracts, right? And why do we have contracts? Well, we have contracts because we don't trust each other. We assume human sinfulness, right? So a contract already comes with it a bunch of presuppositions. You're not gonna fulfill your part of the deal. So we got to get this down in writing, because I don't trust you and you don't trust me. So, but then it's like, okay, now we have an agreed upon reality. I owe you this. You're supposed to get this by this time. We have an agreed upon reality that both of us are going to hold ourselves accountable to executing. And then what happens? Then
the collective will go after
it.
Because you have the paper.
Exactly. Then I can appeal to the law. That way I don't show up at your house. Right? But when you start burning contracts, if that kind of paper gets burned away, think about what happens there. Right? Like, think about what happens. And again, he's talking about the fabric of society. Think about what happens to the fabric of society if we did not have contract law and things like that, and litigation where you could appeal to the court based, again, on the written word.
if you don't have
Right?
that, then the evil of the society pushes the society in a negative direction, because you can't be living around people that are doing wrong and treating you bad without it darkening you in ways. So if society is not ruled by a law that keeps people from going that dark, then the entire society becomes dark, because the bad people keep being bad and there's no justice shown. And so the good people start saying, well, what the fuck?
Right.
Why am I fault? Why am I doing this?
Then
Exactly.
And there goes the fabric of, I mean,
Right.
there's so many things, there's so many ways that burning of the pages thing is deep as hell. And think about like marriage contracts, right? Like I'm speaking as a divorced person. 50% divorce rate is not good for a culture.
No.
You know, there was some guy, I forgot the guy, I think it was Dave Rubin. He said that his family wasn't like the ideal family, because he's gay, you know. So he said, we don't have the ideal family, and all the TY, oh, he's full of self-hate, blah, 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 blah. It's like ridiculous. Like, I'm a divorced and remarried person. I never want my kids to go through a divorce. We are not the ideal family.
Right.
We love each other to death. We're not the ideal family. We don't want this for our kids. I don't want my kids to have to go through what so like you can say we're not in an ideal situation without self-hate. I love our family. I wouldn't trade our family for the world, but it's not the ideal situation. Like there's a lot of there's complexities we're going through right now that you have to go to court through and all the rest of it. Like, so that line, burning pages, and then the fabric of society being torn, putting those two together, that was such a powerful metaphor, man. Like, you can spend so many hours on that, because it really speaks to a lot of what we're going through. People lie under oath all the time. Every congressional hearing presents fantastic examples. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And that's another way to burn the page. You know, like, burning the page, that's what I said, metaphorically or symbolically. Like, that's true. Like, we look at our leaders, these are supposed to be, generally in a society, you want high character, the people of the highest character to be your leaders. And now it's so bad. These people have gone back on their words and what they're contracted to do, because everybody who gets a government job, you take an oath and you sign your name that you're going to do X, Y, and Z, and they go back on that all the time. It's just, and then now we're in a society where, like, the worst of us become our leaders. Like, I never heard a single Trump, please don't get all, I've never heard a single Trump supporter say he's the best of us. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
no.
Like, it's interesting, like, in the Muslim world, after Muhammad died, Muhammad had no male children. So the leadership could not go to any of his sons, which is normally how leadership works, especially in the Arab Peninsula at the time. So then the question is, well, who's gonna?
Had no sons.
Yeah, he had one son named Ibrahim, I think, who died as an infant.
Wow.
Yeah, so Allah never gave him any male sons. He just had Fatima.
And he had how many wives?
He had 8 to 14 wives, depending. But he never had any sons. He had one son, and the kid died basically as an infant. And so Muhammad basically told his followers that Allah, since he was the last and final prophet, sons of prophets are always prophets, so that's why he couldn't live that long. So, but anyway, after he died, he's got no son. So then who becomes the leader? Well, Muhammad died in Medina, and so there were these group of people called the Ansar, and the Ansar were the leader of Medina, were the leaders of Medina. So he's like, listen, he died over here. He considered himself a Medinan, so the Ansar should get it. The leader of the Ansar should get it, right? And so there's a back and forth. So finally, Umar says, which one of us is better than Abu Bakr? Who prays the most? Who gives the most zakat? Who's the bravest in jihad? Blah, blah. Who's taking care of the orphans? Who's taking care of the widows? I mean, there's this one story, this blind woman who for 20 years, this dude used to show up at her house, clean up her house, and then leave. And finally, because Abu Bakr used to just go off, and finally Umar went to follow him. And he followed, and he saw him going into this woman's house. He's like, what's Abu Bakr doing in this woman's house? It's not as...
Because they're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, so finally, when Abu Bakr left, Umar went in there and said, what's going on? She's like, yeah, there's this guy who comes in every day. This is while Abu Bakr is a Khalifa. He's the most powerful person in the entire community. Wow. She's like, from time to time, this guy shows up and he cleans my house, and then he gives me food, he makes sure I'm good, and then he leaves. And Umar's like, do you understand who that was? And she's like, nah, but he's been doing this for 20 years. So that's the point. So that was so Umar's like, which one of us is better than Abu Bakr? And that's how Abu Bakr got the Khalifa. So my point is, like, we're so far away from that.
Yeah.
Like, our leaders now are literally the worst of us. Like, nobody, when people were nominating Trump initially, nobody was saying he's the best of us.
And nobody, they don't say, who can we trust the most? It's like, well, who can we trust more than the other one?
Yeah. And now, you know, to M's point, they lie constantly. Our last handful of POTUSes have lied endlessly. We expect better from the poor, those struggling to pay bills. Exactly. And that's how society becomes frayed, because poor people are going to be like, well, get the fuck out of here. I'm supposed to be this virtuous person. You're the leader. Get out of here. We're done. Yeah, man. Our leaders should be virtuous, but so should our people. We no longer have a concept of vigilant citizenry built around civic virtue. We get the rules we deserve. That is also true. That is also true. Ian now has heard people say that Trump is the best of us. Like, morally speaking, you've heard people say that Trump is the best of us, like, most virtuous person in the room. I've never heard that. I've heard richest. I've heard powerful. I've heard he knows how to run a business.
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody appeal to Trump's moral virtues.
Yeah,
but I mean, now I don't know. Now he's a messianic figure because
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
he's getting prosecuted.
Did you see how, so after they said burnt pages, fabric of society torn, then he says, condemned either way, no cells, no chains. Resistance is buried like a secret to a grave.
Yeah, exactly.
So it destroyed everything. No cells, no chains. Like,
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. And that's what I was talking about a couple, videos ago. It's like, our government constantly lies to us. We know they lie to us, and we believe every single lie they tell us. It's and the next group of lies, they'll believe that too.
Yep.
Like, shit is crazy. All right. 9.2 for me. 9.2.
9.8.
That previous song was just such a banger. This song.
Oh yeah.
This song lyrically left I'm leaving so much on the table. I'm just not going to do a 4-hour review and bore you people to death. But
I liked this one. The other one was
song.
definitely the song of the night. But.
Yeah, it's definitely the funnest song. For sure. Ben, we are happy that you've been born, dear listener. It is amazing. Everybody type 22 to say happy birthday to the big homie Ben.
Thanks for sharing it with us.
Yes, man. That was awesome. We really, 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 really appreciate it. And we appreciate you. Thank you for coming through, being part of the community, and blessing the community with your presence. Shouts to MJ, shouts to Ian, shout out to the mysterious David, Johannes Hayes, Waldo, all you beautiful people. Happy birthday, Benji. Happy birthday. We love you, bud. We out of here.
Bye.
Don't forget, Fuji Bear Baby Formula, Amazon.com. Just type in Fuji, and there you are, dear listener. Okay, guys, we are out of here. Vin out.
Sori out.